Hey everyone, it's Chrono from the Headphone Show. Today with me I have a gaming headset, the Razer Blackshark V2 Pro wireless. Let's check it out. Alright, so getting right into it, the Razer Blackshark V2 Pro wireless is, as suggested by the name, a wireless version of Razer's immensely popular Blackshark V2 Pro. And with a retail price of $179.99, it means that you're paying an $80 premium over the standard wired version of the headset, which price-wise also puts it roughly in the same ballpark as the highly regarded Arctis 7, which I actually reviewed last year, and you can find a link to that video in the description below. Also in the price bracket, you have the Logitech G Pro X wireless, which I haven't had yet the chance to try out. Now, one thing I want to note right away is that the Blackshark V2 Pro is compatible with just about all gaming platforms, so that's PC, Nintendo Switch, PS5, Xbox Series consoles, as well as the previous gen consoles. Anyhow, let's begin by checking out the Blackshark's build. As expected for a headset in this price bracket, the build here is mostly made out of plastic, although it feels to me as though the headband might actually be made out of metal, as it feels very sturdy. The plastic used on the cups also feels solid and doesn't really have any give to it. The only points of concern for me are the thin metal wire yokes, which do bend fairly easily, and the exposed wires that go into the ear cups, as I feel as those could get caught on something or just wear down more easily over time. As for comfort, I think that the Blackshark V2 Pro does a very good job at creating a comfortable fit. The chassis is very lightweight with low clamp force and even distribution across the headband and ear pads. Something that particularly stood out to me is that the material used to wrap the ear pads and underside of the headband was ultra breathable and didn't get hot after long listening sessions. But it wasn't scratchy either, like I've experienced on other headphones using a similar weave or fabric. Now, one thing I'd like to mention is that unfortunately the pads aren't that deep, so some users' ears will likely come in contact with the driver, and it's something to keep in mind if you're sensitive to that type of stuff. Let's move on to features and accessories though, as there's quite a bit to unpack here. As far as the tangibles go, the Blackshark includes a USB to micro USB charging cable, would have been nice to see USB-C, a 3.5mm to 3.5mm 3-pole audio cable, a travel bag, and the detachable super cardioid microphone, which sounds like this. This is a recording of the Blackshark V2 Pro's microphone going straight into Premiere Pro. Still nasally sounding like most wireless headphone mics, but the well-defined treble range and the aggressive low-end cut do help in making my voice cut through the mix with minimal plosives. I'm currently typing on my drop alt with silver speed switches, so hopefully that gives you an idea of how much sound this microphone blocks out. Now, on the headset itself, you have some controls such as a volume knob on the left ear cup that goes from mute to max volume, a power button that doubles up as media playback controls, as well as a mic mute toggle. So on the surface, the Blackshark is a very simple to use plug and play headset, which is great, but this is one of the few instances in which I'd highly encourage you to check out the available software, as it unlocks a whole slew of features and customizability. Probably not to anybody's surprise, but the software I'm referring to is none other than Razer's Synapse. In Synapse, you can calibrate the position of the virtual surround sound audio channels. Then you also have enhancements that you can enable and edit, such as bass boost, sound normalization, so you get an even volume output, and a vocal clarity mode, which I suggest not using because it just makes everything sound like listening through a telephone. Very important is that here you'll find the EQ presets, and even better is that there is a 10-band equalizer that works quite well actually. Lastly, you also get some microphone settings such as mic volume, a noise gate setting, side tone settings so you can monitor your own voice, and once again you get some EQ settings. So I have to say that while I'm not a fan of using additional software like Synapse or G-Hub, Razer did do a great job of including just about everything I would have wanted to see in Synapse. And it just helps in making the Blackshark V2 Pro wireless a very feature-rich headset. One last thing I should note here is that this headset has a 24-hour battery life, so you can get quite a bit of gaming done without needing to recharge it. Anyhow, let's now talk about sound, and I'll begin by saying that when used in wireless mode, I experienced no latency that I could sincerely perceive, nor did I experience any audio dropouts or stutters. So I feel confident in saying that the connectivity should not be an issue while gaming. Additionally, I was very happy with the level of volume that the headset achieved, and these could actually get quite loud compared to other wireless headphones and headsets I've tried recently. So I doubt anybody will be left wanting on that front. As for the in-game performance, well, I'm actually quite happy with how these fared in the games that I played while testing. Out of the box, the stock tuning was definitely on the dark side, with boosted mid bass and really recessed upper mids and mid treble that could occlude the sound of things like footsteps, weapon reloads, or even character callouts. So there was really quite a bit more of an emphasis in the audio's boomy undertones, which didn't make them too hard to game in, but it definitely didn't do the Blackshark any favors when it came to highlighting the sound cues that I would consider to be crucial for online competitive games. That being said though, this was something that was easily resolved simply using the EQ settings in Synapse, which allowed me to get a frequency response out of the Blackshark that, for my taste and preferences, was better than the one I got for the Arctis 7, and that's a headset I liked and recommended. And it was a tuning that I thought was better suited for gaming, and was honestly also very good for just regular music listening. So while you may be happy with how these sound stock, I definitely think it's worthwhile to play around with the available EQ settings. If you're interested in trying out my EQ preset for these, I'll leave the filter adjustments I used in the description down below. More important than tuning and tonality for gaming though, is the headset's soundstage and imaging capabilities. And in this regard, I feel as though the Blackshark actually delivers better performance than the Arctis 7. Both headsets have solid imaging that accurately distinguish, the directionality and positioning of sound, but the Blackshark has a soundstage that is a little bit more spacious and can better convey a sense of distance, even without the use of virtual surround sound. So I definitely found them to be very competent for FPS games, in which spatial audio is of course a significant component of the multiplayer experience. Now, last thing I wanted to talk about on the note of soundstage is the THX spatial audio surround sound that is available for this headset when you download the Synapse software. And in my experience, I have to say that I find the implementation to be very poor. Enabling the surround sound drastically changes the headphone's tonality, and while it does kind of help in creating a more expansive audio environment, I experienced a sort of virtual channel imbalance that made the center channel way more prominent than the left or right channels, which made the imaging really unreliable and kind of threw directional accuracy out the window, regardless of how I set up the spatial audio in Synapse. So my suggestion is to just keep the headset in stereo mode, as I found it to be a lot more reliable in-game when using that setting. Anyhow, now to wrap up this review on the Razer Blackshark V2 Pro wireless, I think that while $80 is a very significant premium to pay over the wired version of this headset, it still does deliver very competent performance for its price bracket. It remains comfortable in extended gaming sessions. It offers a lot of customizability through the Synapse software. It has excellent microphone quality and wireless performance that is both reliable and convenient. So without a doubt, I am happy to give the Blackshark V2 Pro a strong recommendation, especially if you're comfortable trying out the EQ settings in Synapse. In fact, I think I'd recommend these over the Arctis 7 for those who are looking for a new wireless gaming headset. Anyways, that is all for me today. I hope you enjoyed this video or found it useful. If you did, do consider dropping a like. If you'd like to learn more about the Blackshark V2 Pro wireless or many other headphones, I highly encourage you to check out the review section available on headphones.com. For more headphone audio content, stay tuned by subscribing to the Headphone Show here on YouTube. And until next time, this is Chrono signing off.